But when the elevator doors opened, everything changed. Her office door was slightly ajar, just enough for me to see inside without being noticed. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Sharon was there, but she wasn't alone. Two men, young, muscular guys I recognized from the office Christmas party, were with her. And they weren't just talking. Sharon was sprawled across her desk, her blouse unbuttoned, skirt pushed up around her waist. I've always been proud of Sharon. She built an impressive career in her 50s, in an industry dominated by younger professionals. She's always been the office's go-to person, mentoring the rookies, taking charge of projects, and carrying herself with a sharp professionalism that has earned her respect. She used to joke that she was the office mom, and I believed it. For weeks, I didn't notice subtle changes. Sharon started staying late at the office more often. She'd come home with a glow, not the tired, worn-out look I'd expect after a 12-hour day, but the kind of glow you get when you've been having fun. She was careful to say all the right things, something about a major project and the new hires needing extra guidance. But she'd laugh more when she talked about work in a way that didn't quite sit right with me. And then there were her clothes. Sharon has always been fashionable, but lately, her wardrobe had taken a turn, shorter skirts, tighter blouses, heels she hadn't worn since our anniversary 5 years ago. When I asked her about it, she'd brush it off, saying she wanted to keep up with the younger women in the office. It wasn't just the clothes. She'd started going out on weekends under the pretense of team bonding events. I didn't think much of it at first, but one Saturday, I decided to check our joint account. She'd spent $200 at some upscale restaurant on the other side of town. The same night, she told me she was at a team trivia night at the local pub. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Sharon was a smart woman, and we'd been married long enough that I thought I knew her. But the pieces weren't adding up. It all came to a head last week. I was working from home when Sharon left her work laptop open on the kitchen counter. Normally, I wouldn't snoop. I never needed to. But as I went to close the screen, a notification popped up. It was a message from someone named Ryan. I don't know why, but I clicked it, and there it was. Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about it. When can we meet again? I stared at the message, my heart pounding in my chest. There was no mistaking the tone. Sharon wasn't just mentoring her coworkers. She was sleeping with them. I scrolled through the chat history, each message sinking my heart deeper into my gut. The texts were flirty, explicit, and shameless. Ryan wasn't the only one. There were other messages, Derek, Evan, a guy named Chris. Young guys, all of them talking about their secret arrangements with Sharon. Some of them even joked about how lucky they were to get cushy assignments and promotions because of their relationship with her. I slammed the laptop shut, my hands trembling. I wanted to storm into her office right then and demand answers. But something stopped me. I needed to know the full extent of her betrayal before I confronted her. I needed proof. That night, Sharon came home late. She waltzed through the door with a smile, kissed me on the cheek, and poured herself a glass of wine like nothing was wrong. I couldn't stand to look at her. "How was work?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Busy," she said, kicking off her heels. "You know how it is. These kids need so much guidance." Kids. The word hit me like a slap. She was talking about them as if they were her protégés, not her lovers. My stomach churned, but I forced myself to stay calm. "You're doing a lot for them," I said, testing the waters. "It must be hard keeping up with all those young guys." She laughed, oblivious to the edge in my voice. "Oh, please. They're just boys. They don't know anything yet." Her words were casual, but now I could hear the double meaning. I excused myself, locking myself in the bathroom to collect my thoughts. I had the messages. I had the spinning records. What more did I need? The next day, Sharon came home early. I was waiting for her in the living room, laptop on the coffee table. The messages pulled up on the screen. Her cheerful expression faded as soon as she saw my face. "Tom, what's wrong?" she asked. I gestured to the laptop. "Why don't you tell me, Sharon?" Her eyes flicked to the screen, and I saw the color drain from her face. "I can explain," she started, but I wasn't interested. "Explain what?" I snapped. "That you've been made love half your office? That you've been lying to me for God knows how long?" "It's not what it looks like," she said, her voice shaking. "They're just flirtations. Nothing serious." "Nothing serious?" I laughed bitterly. "I read the messages, Sharon. I saw the receipts. You're mentoring them, all right, right in your bed. She started crying, but I wasn't buying it. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is? How disgusting. These guys are the same age as our son. Does that even matter to you? Tom, please, she begged. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I felt invisible. Old. They made me feel wanted again. Wanted? I stood up, towering over her. I've wanted you for 25 years, Sharon. I've loved you, respected you, built a life with you. And this is how you repay me? She didn't have an answer. She just sat there, crying in her hands, while I packed a bag and walked out the door. I couldn't even look at her. It's been a week since that night. I'm staying at a friend's place while I figure out my next steps. Sharon's been blowing up my phone, begging me to come home, promising she'll change. But I can't unsee what I saw. I can't unhear those messages or undo the knowledge that my wife of 25 years has been living a double life. I haven't told the kids yet. I don't know how to explain to them that their mother, the woman who raised them, has been throwing herself at men barely older than they are. But I know one thing for sure. This marriage is over. Sharon might have wanted to feel young again, but all she's done is destroy the life we built together. And for what? A few fleeting moments of validation? I didn't plan to go to Sharon's office that day. I had an appointment with my lawyer in the afternoon, the paperwork ready to file. But something told me I needed to face her one last time. Maybe it was anger, maybe it was pride. I wanted her to see the man she betrayed standing tall, to know she hadn't broken me. It was just after lunch when I pulled into the office parking lot. I could feel my heart pounding as I walked through the front doors. Sharon had always been proud of her position here, the corner office, the authority she wielded. I wondered if any of her co-workers suspected the truth about her extracurricular activities. Probably not. Sharon was too good at hiding behind that polished professional mask. I nodded at the receptionist, who gave me a polite smile as I headed toward the elevator. As the doors closed and I pressed the button for her floor, my mind raced. I rehearsed what I would say to her. Calm, measured words about how she had destroyed our marriage, how I couldn't stay with a woman who had so thoroughly disrespected me. But when the elevator doors opened, everything changed. Her office door was slightly ajar, just enough for me to see inside without being noticed. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Sharon was there, but she wasn't alone. Two men, young, muscular guys I recognized from the office Christmas party, were with her. And they weren't just talking. Sharon was sprawled across her desk, her blouse unbuttoned, skirt pushed up around her waist. One of the men was behind her, his hands gripping her hips, while the other was in front, leaning over her, their bodies moving in unison. It was obscene, animalistic, and Sharon wasn't just complicit, she was loving it. I froze, my brain struggling to process what I was seeing. The betrayal I'd felt before was nothing compared to the visceral rage that consumed me now. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was shameless, degrading herself and everything we'd built together. I was about to push the door open, to storm in and end this nightmare, when something stopped me. The man in front turned his head, and for a moment, I thought I was imagining things. He looked eerily familiar, too familiar. Then it hit me like a freight train. It was my son, our youngest, Kyle, 23 years old, fresh out of college, recently hired at Sharon's company. He was standing there fully exposed, as though what he was doing was the most normal thing in the world. I felt the air leave my lungs, my legs buckling beneath me. My son, my wife, my family shattered in a way I hadn't even thought possible. The other man noticed me first. Sharon, he stammered, pulling back. She turned her head, her expression shifting from ecstasy to shock as her eyes met mine. Tom, what are you doing here? Me? I said, my voice trembling with fury. What the hell are you doing? What is he doing? I pointed at Kyle, who looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. Dad, Kyle started, but I cut him off. Don't say a word, I growled. Sharon stumbled off the desk, trying to cover herself. Tom, it's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. I laughed, the sound bitter and hollow. It looks like you make love to men on your desk, one of whom is our son. The room fell silent. Kyle looked like he might be sick, while Sharon opened and closed her mouth, searching for an explanation that wouldn't make things worse. You're disgusting, I spat, my voice rising. Both of you. What the hell is wrong with you? Tom, please, let me explain, Sharon pleaded, stepping toward me. Explain what? I shouted. That you've completely lost your damn mind? That you've destroyed our family in ways I didn't even think were possible? No, Sharon. I don't want your excuses. I want you out of my life forever. I turned to Kyle, my hands shaking. And you? I don't even know who you are anymore. Dad, it was a mistake, he stammered, his voice small and desperate. A mistake? I snapped. You think this is a mistake? You don't accidentally end up screwing your mother, Kyle. I left the office without another word, my mind racing with a mix of rage, betrayal, and disgust. I couldn't believe what I just witnessed, couldn't fathom how my life had spiraled so far out of control. Sharon's infidelity was one thing, but this was something else entirely, something I couldn't even put into words. The divorce papers were filed that same day. I didn't even bother telling Sharon. I'll let the process server handle that. As for Kyle, I haven't spoken to him since. I don't know if I ever will. Sharon has tried to contact me, sending message after message, begging for a chance to explain. But there's nothing she could say that would make me unsee what I saw that day. Nothing that could erase the image burned into my memory. People always say the truth will set you free. But sometimes, the truth destroys everything you've ever known. This is where I need your help, readers. I never thought I'd be one of those people posting my private life on the internet, but here I am. I don't know what to do next. Every option feels wrong, but doing nothing feels even worse. Do I try to salvage some kind of relationship with Kyle? Or do I cut him out of my life entirely? Is there even a way to forgive him for this? Do I tell Melissa the truth? Or do I let her keep believing in the family she's always known? And Sharon, is there any point in trying to get closure? Or do I just let her fade into the past where she belongs? I'm drowning here. I need a lifeline. I need to know how to move forward because right now, I feel like my world is burning down around me and I have no idea how to put out the flames. So I'm asking you, what would you do in my shoes? How do you come back from something like this? Or do you?